There's one war that no one is talking about. It's been going on for almost 6 months. Myanmar's army is facing an uphill battle. They are on the verge of a collapse. After the British left what was then Burma, the army ruled Myanmar for decades, until Aung San Suu Kyi was voted as leader. But in 2021, the army was back in the corridors of power. Min Aung Hlaing went from being a general to a ruler. A peaceful military coup saw the army taking over, but now they are facing a severe challenge, and the military leadership is not able to cope. Nobody has been able to put the army on the back foot, from political leader Aung San Suu Kyi and her unity government to thousands of student protesters. But everything has changed since October 2023. That's when Operation 1027 began, the most lethal uprising against the ruling military. Operation 1027 is an ongoing military campaign against Myanmar's army. It has been named for the date and month of its launch. That's the 27th of October in 2023. It's a coordinated fight by 3 ethnic rebel groups: the Arakan Army, the Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army, and the Tang National Liberation Army. And here's what they want to achieve with their operation: eradication of military rule, protecting civilian life, and a right to self-defense. Operation 1027 has shattered the army like a hot piece of iron touching a piece of glass. Here's how the war began. The Brotherhood Alliance went on a blitzkrieg, a military tactic involving attacks that depend on speed and shock. Their aim was to catch the army napping, and they did. The first operation was in eastern Myanmar, in the Shan state. The army ended up losing control of the border crossing with China. Then the fighting spread to the west and the south. Chin and Karen states were next in line. Border crossings with India and Thailand fell into the hands of the Three Brotherhood Alliance. The border crossings are still in control of the rebels. They oversee what goes in and out, from regular trade to weapons to people. The purpose was to remove the military's grip on the borders, squeeze the fighting away from international regions, and take the battle inwards. Now, the Myanmar army is on the cusp of collapsing. The army has taken massive hits. More than 500 bases have been run over, captured by the rebels. Thousands of soldiers loyal to the military junta have surrendered. Hundreds have taken refuge in India, Bangladesh, and Thailand. And all of this despite having a larger and stronger force. In fact, when compared to the army, the Three Brotherhood Alliance looks like a ragtag force. Here's how the two forces compare against each other. Myanmar's army has over 150,000 troops. The rebel fighters are just 20,000 in number. The army has over 700 tanks and almost 2,000 artillery weapons. The rebels have none of these. Instead, they capture the army's tanks and artillery guns and make them their own. The army also has fighter jets and attack helicopters, 50 each. The rebels have no air force but use small suicide drones and loitering munition. In terms of numbers and advanced weaponry, the fighting should have been over in the first few weeks. But wars aren't just fought with weapons. There is a certain kind of leadership required, which is missing from the Myanmar Army's generals.
This civil war in Myanmar has become unwinnable for the Myanmar junta. And that means that it's a matter of time before they lose this war. They're losing now, but it's a matter of holding on to some towns, using heavier weapons, artillery, airstrikes to buy time. If you look at the logic, the numbers, self-evident. I mean, they're losing troops on a daily basis, no new recruits, no reinforcements, no resupply. So soldiers are not willing to do patrols anymore. They get ambushed and so on. And the upper hand now has gone to the resistance forces.
Apart from losing battles and a fighting spirit, the biggest jolt for the army is an unhappy society. The people of Myanmar have turned against the army, marking a beginning of their downfall.
Last 3 years, over 44,000 people have been brutally killed by the military. More than 2.6 million people have been internally displaced. Over 86,000 civilian properties, including religious buildings, have been destroyed or burned down by the junta forces. Almost 19 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance. Half of the population has been thrown into poverty.
It has been 3 years since the military came to power with a coup in Myanmar. Since then, thousands have been killed. Millions have fled to India, Bangladesh and Thailand. But now the good neighbors are clamping down. India has closed its borders.
मैं आसाम के मित्रों को बताना चाहता हूं कि ब्रह्मदेश के साथ म्यांमार के साथ हमारी सीमा जो खुली सीमा है, नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार ने निर्णय करा है कि भारत म्यांमार सीमा को हम बाढ़ से सुरक्षित करेंगे और पूरी सीमा पर बांग्लादेश की तर्ज पर बाढ़ लगाने का काम करेंगे। और म्यांमार के साथ हमारा फ्री आवाजाही का जो एग्रीमेंट है, ये एग्रीमेंट पर भी भारत सरकार पुनः विचार कर रही है और अब आने जाने की ये सहूलियत को ही भारत सरकार बंद करने जा रही है।
Thailand says it wants to stay away from Myanmar's problems. They've closed the borders but continue sending humanitarian aid.
As for the internal problems of Myanmar, they have to fix them themselves. We will not interfere in their internal affairs. Our objective is to help in relation to humanitarian matters only.
China says it facilitated peace talks between the army and the rebels, but that has also failed. Fighting has picked up in recent days, and the people of Myanmar are protesting in thousands. They want the army out and the democratic government back in.
We can't accept this military coup anymore. We can see the difference between the development that we had before the coup and the current situation. Our children, their education, the health sector, public businesses and the state of the economy have all been affected because of this illegal coup.
The future of Myanmar looks uncertain. Once known as the Golden Land, it's facing its worst crisis ever. Ever since the coup 3 years ago, the army has lost all support. Multiple ethnic armed groups have formed a coalition. Fighting has peaked to an all-time high. There is no end to atrocities. The international community is silent. For the West, Myanmar is a lost cause. The East doesn't want to get its hands dirty either, and the United Nations is missing as always. The burden for peace rests only on the people of Myanmar.